This is Igbo Area TV.
Hello. When President Olusegun Obasanjo encouraged local production of cement, the manager of Ibeto Cement Factory promised to flood Nigerian market with cement and drastically reduce the price of the product. Ibeto fulfilled his promise and flooded the country with cement. The result was that the price of cement crashed. This jolted Dangote cement and affected his business adversely. Aliko Dangote wrote a petition to former President Olusegun Obasanjo kicking against the authority the federal government granted Ibeto to import 800,000 metric tons of cement. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo issued a directive that Ibeto was not allowed to import cement into the country until it proved its investment in local production. Dangote was allowed to import cement. Thousands of staffs of Ibeto's men were rendered jobless. When late President Umaru Yar'Adua succeeded Obasanjo, Ibeto in July 2007 applied for import allocation and it was granted. Once again, he flooded the country with quality cement and the prices crashed. Dangote Cement PLC quickly filed a suit alleging that Ibeto Cement Company is gaining undue advantage by the federal government. On its part, the federal government contended that Dangote Cement PLC is plotting to wipe out fair competition and create a monopoly in the industry and transform itself to the only cock that crows in Nigeria. But Ibeto fortified terms of settlement which were entered as consent judgment in the suit. In line with the consent judgment, it will continue to import 1.5 million metric tons of cement per annum for the period between 1st October 2007 and 30th of September 2019. This was in line with the federal government guarantee conveyed in a letter by the Ministry of Trade and Industry, dated 5th June 2002. By the judgment, the federal government was to pay Ibeto Cement Company the sum of $40 million and 1.9 billion naira. The amount is the verified claims by the Interministerial Committee of the Federal Government for losses suffered by Ibeto from the unjustified closure of his bagging plant between December 2005 and when it resumed operation in October 2007. But Dangote Cement PLC consented that its rights and interests were affected by the consent judgment. Dangote argued that the continuance of Ibeto Cement makes Dangote Cement expensive. However, the federal government and 6 of its agencies, which are the other defendants in the counter affidavit deposed to by one Emmanuel Joel, an assistant litigation officer in the law firm of Kenna Partners, argued that Dangote Cement PLC filed the suit with only one intention: to wipe out competition in cement business and become a monopoly. The federal government also contended that Dangote Cement has no locus in filing the suit as the matter didn't concern them. It averred that the suit instituted by Ibeto Cement against the federal government was not fraudulent. Furthermore, it argued that Dangote Cement was not a nominee or agent of government agencies, which are defendants in the suit, and is not acting on their behalf. It argued that Dangote Cement PLC is not an agency of federal government with the statutory mandate of administering, managing or enforcing tax compliance, therefore lacking the local standing to commence or maintain the legal action and seek the reliefs in the case. Ibeto took cement to another level. It signed a contract agreement of $368 million with a China company, Zhejiang Sinoma Engineering Design and Research Institute Company Limited, to produce 6,000 metric tons of cement in Enugu State, southeast Nigeria. The contract covered crushing limestone mining, cement raw materials to packaging, shipped to the whole process, and a 45 megawatts captive power plant, covering engineering design, equipment, steel, material supply, civil works, installation, commissioning and personnel training. Already, Ibeto Company operates a similar facility in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, which produces 6,000 tons of cement. Dangote was afraid that his dominance and monopoly of cement production will be destroyed by Ibeto. Ibeto is a billionaire and one of the wealthiest men in Africa. As of 2013, he was estimated to be worth about $3.7 billion by Ventures Africa. His Petrochemical Industries Limited, which manufactures oil lubricants and other various petroleum products, both for local and international trade, has the largest liquid storage facility for petroleum products in Nigeria, with a large capacity to store over 60,000 metric tons, and is located at Apapa Wharf and the Ibru Jetty complex in Lagos, Nigeria. President Buhari came into power. Ibeto Company applied for foreign exchange from the CBN but was denied. Dangote applied and was granted. He has continued to enjoy all manner of waiver. Like Dangote did during the Obasanjo regime, he was said to have approached his Fulani brother. Buhari banned Ibeto cement. Following the closure of Ibeto cement by Buhari, the prices of cement jumped from 1,500 naira to 2,500 naira, and Dangote is smiling to the bank. Ibeto's account is frozen. Dr. Cletus Ibeto has been arrested several times, questioned by security agencies, harassed, humiliated, and intimidated. There is no law in the Nigerian law books that Ibeto Company has breached. What then is his crime? Why this mistreatment? This material was written by Ben Chiedo. The next story: Codeine, unlawful use and unlawful ban. The country has been awash for weeks with news about abuse of drugs by inhabitants in northern Nigeria, especially the female folks. Instead of finding lasting solutions to the menace, the federal government, as usual, resorted to blame games on the cause of the problem. While some agents of federal government blamed it on porous borders, the government media men pointed accusing fingers at Igbo traders. This is in a country where there are regulatory agencies whose duties include monitoring of production, distribution, and consumption of drugs and beverages. It is not surprising because this is what happens when you rely on strong person rather than strong institutions to salvage a nation. If these agencies were different in the discharge of their duties, perhaps we wouldn't be where we are today. Surprisingly, no one has been sacked, suspended, or sanctioned in any way for this ignominy. What we did as a nation in the 21st century was to ban an ingredient needed to produce medicine for the good of the larger population. Codeine in drugs is an analgesic for the relief of mild to moderate pain. It is also used for treatment of unproductive cough and diarrhea. It is also very efficient in the treatment of acute, moderate pain, which is not considered to be relieved by other analgesics such as paracetamol and ibuprofen. However, despite its advantages, codeine-related drugs are to be taken only on doctor's prescriptions. It is not to be administered without medical monitoring on children below 12 years old. In a research conducted by Accusations Limited, this is because of the risk of opioid toxicity due to the variable and unpredictable metabolism of codeine to morphine. Other side effects include immune system disorder, nervous system disorder, respiratory, thoracic and mediastinal disorders, as well as renal and urinary disorder. It also impairs ability to drive or use machines. For these and other dangers, it is to be used with caution and under prescription. Hence, institutions of government were created to ensure sanity in our health industry. These institutions were to monitor these and other related drugs but failed woefully in the discharge of their duties. The unlawful use of codeine-related drugs is wrong, but the ban on such drugs is another wrong that cannot make a right. Some of these pharmaceutical companies have already produced tens of thousands of such drugs even minutes before the ban. How then are they to sell the drugs, or are they to close shops because government agencies failed to do their work, or because some sports children decided to feast on the drug as their opium? The ban is not only counterproductive but unlawful and therefore legally challengeable. These companies do not sell to individuals, rather they supply to hospitals and other major drug outlets and therefore shouldn't be blamed for abuse of drugs. Regulatory agencies should wake up from slumber in their duties. Today it is the pharmaceutical industries who knows the next industry. The government should lift the ban to avoid endangering thousands of jobs and upkeep of their dependents. Maybe we should begin to build strong institutions rather than rely on strongly questionable individuals with fake integrity credentials. We need to make you understand what this is all about before we now get straight to the ban. Shutting down Emzor Pharmaceutical Company. Buhari, this is truly clueless. It's a clueless move. Nigeria's biggest pharmaceutical company is Emzor. It's owned by an Easterner. Hold your breath, I am not bringing tribe here, just stating the background. The company employs over 300 direct workers and over 10,000 indirect workers. Their products are arguably the best in the country. They have operated for years without scandal and maintained maximum professionalism. Viola, a scandal about just one drug containing codeine is brought up against them. In less than a month, the Buhari administration shuts them down, pending investigation, which may never be completed. I'm aware that two other companies faced same fate, but my interest is on Emzor as the biggest of them all. The harsh reality is that over 11,000 Nigerians will be rendered jobless because of this clueless decision. The sad reality is that the company will fold up and over 50 million will be wasted monthly just to service the equipment and cause it not to rust while the workers are away. The closing down of a company like Emzor because of one drug shows how bereft of intellectuals this government lacks. Dangote produces cement. We have seen Nigerians use the product mixed with water to commit suicide. Do we talk about their trailers that kill over 100 Nigerians yearly and bring down houses? Does it mean that Dangote cement should be shut down because of such killings? Codeine is infused into many syrup that I know of, including children's own, and it has helped to cure sicknesses. That some demented fellow decide to abuse it through the use of drugs produced by the company is not enough to shut them down. That one drug was caught with codeine is not enough to deny sick Nigerians of other drugs that they sell. Is the government not aware that the most popular paracetamol is Emzor product? The best is to ban the drug or place a fine on the erring companies, but to shut down an entire plant is the height of executive rascality. Guns are produced for security officials, but has been misused by armed robbers. Has it made the government of any country to shut down gun companies? NAFDAC should immediately reverse this evil decision targeted at bringing down the bubbling Emzor that will only bring economic wars. They killed Ibeto's men and we kept quiet. They are about to kill Emzor again and we won't keep quiet. Carry out your investigation and allow the companies run. It's bad enough that this administration has brought job losses to Nigerians, and more should not be added to the streets. Nigerians all over the world should rise up against this economic genocide by this government. They should stand up and kick against this evil that is about to throw our sisters, brothers, uncles, fathers, mothers, and relations into depression caused by the loss of their job. Say no to it. Lend your voice to it. Reopen Emzor. Don't shut down Emzor. Ban Codeine, not Emzor. This was provided by Lanian Adeinka Kings, copied from Adoye Oyetunde. So there is no need to shut down a pharmaceutical company because of one product that is still going to be used, just because of the case of misuse. Meanwhile, another report says, clarification on Emzor. Clarification on Emzor. This was by Joseph Gradan Chukwuka. He wants to clarify people on the development. He said, the management of Emzor Pharmaceutical Industries Limited has reacted to the news of closure of its production site by National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC. In a statement issued on the 7th of May 2018, Emzor said its operations were not totally closed by the regulatory agency as being insinuated, but just one of its production sites located in Lagos. Emzor noted that the affected production site is where the company produces the codeine from, saying the shutdown was just temporary. NAFDAC have only temporarily sealed one of Emzor's production sites, the liquid line. The rest of Emzor is still operating as normal, the firm said. We hope this is true. We just hope this is very true. That only a section, the ones that produce codeine, is shut down and not the whole company, and will soon be reopened. We just hope this is true. Thanks for listening to Igbo Area TV. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more updates. You can also visit our Facebook page and like the page. You can join our Facebook group, Igbo Area TV. God bless you and bye for now.